Unorthodox reactions, unorthodox intros. Welcome back, guys, to another unorthodox reaction.
Welcome back, guys, to another unorthodox reaction.
I don't know what you
We are back again with, you guessed it, a reaction.
Movie.
This time we are reacting to
virtual reality.
Boom! Sorry, that peaked. I'm sorry for you guys that were.
Put your phone away. Well, I still need to remember how it goes in the cinema. You know when it's like boo.
Oh,
it's loud, ain't it? Something like I don't know how it goes.
I don't remember. Let's search it up. And
next time I go cinema.
Should we go cinema?
Well, I think we're gonna have to when Doctor Strange comes out.
Uncharted.
Doctor Strange. I feel like Uncharted is worth it.
What, you trying to say my guy Tom Holland is not a good actor?
Listen, Tom Holland is worth it. I just don't know if the movie Uncharted is going to be worth it. Either, because I feel like
I haven't seen any women in it. I mean, I haven't seen any.
I don't know if Natasha's gonna. Natasha, is that her name? Nadine,
the Batman thing.
Natasha. I don't know if Nadine's gonna be in the movie.
What?
Because she was one of the characters in Uncharted, in it.
Oh, I don't know even. Have you seen Batman?
And Elena.
The trailer for Batman.
I was like, personally, I don't think I know her.
The trailer for Batman.
Well, the new one.
Yeah.
I
don't think it's that good. Catwoman. Everyone's typing on Catwoman though.
Catwoman. Anytime Catwoman comes on screen, come on now. But I feel like it's just because of the legacy of the old Batmans. Like,
I don't like the actor though. It's that
really
guy. What's his name?
It'll stand up to it.
The guy that did Twilight. He's the Batman.
You're asking me what his name is. I've never even watched Twilight.
How can he go? I don't know, man. I have no idea. Batman's not even my favorite superhero, so yeah.
See, he was my favorite. No, actually. Yeah, so not Batman's my favorite. Bruce is my favorite. Yeah. Like, how does it go? My favorite identity.
Okay.
Like the face behind the hero. Yeah. And Joker's my favorite. One of my favorite villains.
Oh
Joker
yeah, Joker's. Oh, I like Joker a lot. Yeah, I like Joker a lot.
Who's your favorite hero then? If I had to pick, I'd probably say like from DC anyway. No, yeah,
from DC,
Flash. Yeah,
probably Flash.
Yeah. But I feel like the series Flash ruins the hero. Flash me. Like, I want to say Flash, but then every time I say Flash, I remember the series that
they haven't even seen us read. This series, you guys have to check it out. One day. The reaction to the series is actually hilarious. Like, I don't know. I don't think we could even react to it. It's just too long.
It's like an hour long.
Yeah. Like we'd have to cut up bare. It's actually too good. It's too funny.
We just have to show like the best bits. Maybe.
Yeah, honestly. Anyways, guys, sorry. 3 minutes of your life, and we haven't even started the freaking video.
We're watching a movie. We're talking about movies. So it still stays in context.
We're like professionals.
Exactly.
Like that was pretty good.
Should we be doing this full time?
Full time?
I think we might be ready.
I think I'm ready.
I think we might be ready.
You think you're ready?
I think I'm ready.
Swear.
Yeah.
Paychecks.
Patreon.
All right. OnlyFans.
I don't think we're ready for that yet.
Oh, I thought we were like naming stuff that we could get paid.
24 hours.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, let's get into it.
Movie recaps, virtual reality that allows you to relive other people's memories.
Yeah, I don't know if I would like this, to be fair.
Memories. Anyway, without further ado,
you're wasting 5 minutes of their time.
Let's get right into it.
Welcome back to Movie Recaps. Today I will show you a drama, sci-fi film from 2012, titled Extracted. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. It's late at night when Anthony enters his ex-girlfriend Adrian's house and points a gun at her as Tom watches. There's nothing he can do about it before the gun is shot, and Tom wakes up in a white room, to then move a room with a piano. The voice of an AI called Minnie reminds him that it's time for his daily reminder, so Tom begins mentioning details about himself to check his memory is working well and he hasn't lost sense of himself. He also mentions he is a prisoner of his own creation and that he's getting bored, so Minnie renders another location for him. Tom is now reliving a memory from some months ago. He was with his pregnant wife Abby, telling her he finally got a potential investor for his invention. Later, they had dinner with his sales reps, Richard, where Tom explained exactly how his invention worked. The machine could explore and show the subconscious mind of another person and help them with issues like trauma and amnesia, and it was programmed to detect if memories were false. Richard, however, had other plans. The investor he made contact with wanted to use the machine to enter other people's minds.
Yeah, of course they
This
did.
went against
As
Tom's
a
and Abby's
weapon.
morals, but Richard explained that he wouldn't find anyone willing to fund his project if he didn't compromise a little, so Tom ended up accepting for the sake of the baby and the debt they were drowning in. This decision makes him argue with Abby later. He went ahead and started working with his business partner Gary on an improved machine that could put an outsider in another person's mind and guided you to the memories you wanted to find. They built a virtual command center as a starter area and used Tom's house as a model for it before also hiring an actress, Minnie, to be the voice of the guiding AI. In case things go wrong, they also install a self-destruct system for her. Now Tom is visiting another memory, once that isn't his own. He's been trapped for 4 years inside Anthony's head, and he now watches him have fun on the beach with Adrienne. Meanwhile, in real life, Abby takes their daughter Donna to see her dad at the hospital, where his body lays in a coma while his subconscious lives in Anthony's head. After the beach memory ends, Tom asks Minnie to take him to another one of his own, the one that showed how all this got started. One night, he was woken up by a call from Richard, informing him they would have to do the presentation the next day. Gary wasn't happy to hear that later since they were supposed to have 6 weeks to finish the project and some things weren't tested yet, but they had no other choice to accept if they didn't want trouble. The next night, they took their machine to a big warehouse, where they were joined by Arthur, from the Department of Correction, who had brought a bunch of cops and a criminal with them. They wanted Tom to use the machine on that criminal Anthony, to see if he was truly innocent or not. If it worked, no criminal would have to consent. Using the machine would become mandatory in trials.
That would actually be really good.
But they couldn't leave. Richard reminded them that they already took these people's money. So this
That's a good idea, to be fair.
Yeah, but like all good ideas, it's definitely going to eventually be used for bad.
Yeah, but it kind of would eliminate the like forced incarceration.
Yeah.
Which kind of, hopefully it would eliminate that.
And it would also eliminate the false people trying to say that. Oh, wait, it would make Judge Judy redundant, wouldn't it? Like with the. Is it Judge Judy that does the You're Not the Father thing?
Yeah. And all those things. But that's different, isn't it? Because that would just prove they had intercourse. It doesn't prove that the baby's theirs.
No, it'll prove that if the woman really believes that the baby's theirs. Because some women just say it for the sake of like.
But even if she does really believe it, it might not be.
Yeah, but that would be the first step, though. It's like, are you just wasting our time, or do you
I
actually
personally
believe?
wouldn't want to use that machine to see if people are serious about if the baby is theirs or not. I would want to use it for more serious matters, like, like more.
What could be more serious than that?
Yeah, you right.
Personally, I think that's the most important matter that you could use it for.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
Forget anything else.
Get them in trouble. After sedating Anthony while avoiding the junkie scars
Oh,
and injecting him with a microchip that will connect to the machine, Tom asked Arthur for the details. Adrienne had been found dead. An anonymous tip had seen Anthony's truck near the crime scene, and the murder weapon had Anthony's fingerprints on it. With this information in mind, Tom connected to Anthony's mind, and everything he saw appeared on the computer screen. He showed up at the starter area first and asked Minnie to show him the night of the murder. Anthony was in his truck, looking at a text from Adrienne saying they were over before getting out and hitting the front door of her house. Since she wouldn't answer, he entered through the back door, and it seemed the night of the crime was fuzzy in his mind because the machine had to place placeholders where pictures and drawings would usually go. Anthony found Adrienne, and after they struggled for a moment, she ran to the bedroom, where she apologized before he shot her with her own gun.
Can someone kill him? Because maybe that's how he ended up in a coma. Someone killed him in their memory.
I don't think I can see him.
Yeah, but maybe that's how he ended up in a coma, because now he's stuck in this guy's head.
No, I think maybe just the machine malfunctions and he can't get out.
Maybe. Because he's stuck in this guy's head now.
I don't think it's this guy's head that he's stuck in.
Isn't it Anthony?
Maybe. I thought he was stuck in the assistant's
Anthony
head.
ran to the bathroom to take some pills and call his dad while Tom asked Minnie to analyze the memory. The chances of being real were 95%, which was a pretty solid number. The missing details weren't uncommon for an addict, so now that the police had what they wanted, Tom asked Gary to take him out. Instead of coming back, however, Tom found himself back in the starter area. Gary couldn't take him out no matter what keys he pressed, so Tom asked Minnie to self-destruct. She did so, but for some reason, Tom still wouldn't come back. Back in the present, in prison, Anthony wakes up after dreaming about the day he was arrested. After some Bible reading, he is taken to the visitor area, where his father Martino is waiting for him.
Is it because he's an
He
addict?
brought Anthony some old family.
Maybe because he's an addict, he can't get out of it. I don't know.
No, I just think that the machine is under threats. Like, because they did say that they didn't have enough time to implement. So they probably didn't have enough time to implement like a functional escape.
Yeah.
Pictures for him, but he also reminds his son that he wants him to clean up in jail as he did. Anthony tells him he's been taking a carpentry class and shows him the lack of needle scars on his arms, promising he's trying his best, but his dad doesn't trust his word anymore. While Anthony looks at the photos in his cell, Tom visits a memory he's seen dozens of times. Little Anthony is trying to make his dog sit, but the little guy wouldn't listen, and Martino tells him the only way to teach something is through constant repetition, because if you tell someone something enough times they'll believe it, but this dog is incredibly dumb. When little Anthony goes to the fridge to grab a beer for his father, he actually sees Tom, but before Tom can do anything, the memory resets. Tom tries to make contact with the kid again twice more, but he doesn't see him anymore, and Minnie insists that's impossible anyway. Trying to figure out what makes this occasion so different, Tom asks Minnie to show him Anthony's memory of what he'd been doing while Tom interacted with his younger self. He finds Anthony looking at the pictures and staring for longer at one of his old dog before he glances at Tom as if he could see him too. Tom realizes what happened then. Anthony had been thinking of the same memory Tom had been visiting, so to communicate with him, he needs to be at the memory he thinks of the most. Minnie sadly can't locate memories by the number of times they were seen, so Tom asks her for some memory.
Maybe you should take a note of this.
Like therapy or a confession. Minnie shows him one of the many times Anthony talked to a priest. He told him about a memory that still haunted him all the time, and Tom decides to visit. One day years ago, while hanging with his friend and dealer Eric, he realized he couldn't live another day without his fix, so together they planned a robbery. After covering their faces with ski masks, Anthony took Eric's gun and both of them went after a man that just visited his bookie, Martino himself. The man didn't take them seriously, so Eric hit him and ran with the money while Martino punched Anthony and, after retrieving the gun, took off his mask. He was very shocked to see his son and refused to talk to him, so Anthony ran away. The priest gifted Anthony a Bible for his new hymn, and Tom stayed in the memory of the robbery, hoping Anthony would show up there sooner or later. 2 weeks later, when Anthony is in his cell reading the Bible, he thinks about this memory and finally gets to see Tom again. However, having this strange man in his memory freaks him out, so Anthony finishes the memory instead of answering Tom's questions. A moment later, once he's calmed down, Anthony thinks of that memory again and appears there, willing to talk. Tom explains he's been trapped there for 4 years but still remembers his wife's phone number, so he wants Anthony to call her and tell her what happened. When she gets a call from Anthony, Abby thinks it's a prank and immediately hangs up on him. Anthony calls again and being's telling her about the day her father died and the words Tom used to comfort her, which Tom had told him about so he could convince Abby this is real. Abby accepts to come see Anthony the next day, so Tom asks Anthony for his help explaining what went wrong with the machine. Anthony accepts because he doesn't want Tom in his head. When Abby comes to prison to visit Anthony and hears him say Tom can see and hear everything Anthony does, she brings over Donna so her father can finally meet her. She still has doubts about the whole thing, though so as final proof, she asks Anthony what is the nickname Tom would call her in private. After some moments of searching that almost cause Abby to leave, Anthony tells her the nickname was Birdie, finally earning her trust. After the visit is over, Anthony and Tom meet again in Anthony's mind. Tom says he could live forever in the memory of meeting his daughter, but for now, they need to get ready for the next part of the plan. He makes Anthony write down the whole explanation of what happened. The microchip is still inside his body, and the reader couldn't find it because they were using new microchips made from different materials. They didn't get to reprogram the reader because of the rushed presentation.
Bro, you know, I forgot we were recording. I just realized just now that we were still recording.
Why?
Because I'm like, bro, this is so
interesting. Yeah, I was so zoned in.
Oh, yeah.
I was so zoned in on the fact. They probably just see our faces like this.
Like, we might have to, I don't know, we're not going to cut it out, but...
No, I'm not cutting it out.
Keep it in there.
Yeah, it's really good.
You guys, you should be as engaged as we are.
If you're not engaged, what are you doing?
Facts.
What are you actually doing with your life? Come on, guys.
Fix up.
Do better.
This explanation is also what Abby is telling Gary, who is willing to use the machine to save Tom. Abby has already gotten approval from the hospital to move the body and now she only needs access to Anthony, but for that, she'll have to talk to Arthur, who Richard couldn't convince. Abby goes to see him in person, and after lots of yelling from her, Arthur accepts to move a prisoner under one condition: he gets the machine in return. Abby doesn't like this idea very much but accepts anyway. Back in prison, Anthony tells Tom that he helps him feel less lonely, but he's also tired of the robbery memory, so he offers a less sad alternative, a memory of Anthony and Adrienne by a swimming pool, where they can chill and chat. Some days later, Anthony calls his dad to let him know he'll be transferred to another prison after he goes through the procedure to help Tom, since he's trying to do a good thing. Martino finds the idea laughable since it was Anthony's idea to use that machine months ago in the first place and all for nothing. It was Martino that picked him up that night after getting his call, and he even lied to the police for his son, not telling them where he had thrown the gun. He says he doesn't believe Anthony is capable of doing good things, that he's done with him, and if he truly thinks he's innocent, then he should prove it. Moments later, the transfer begins. Anthony will stay overnight at a shed where they will do the procedure, and the following day he'll be taken to the new prison. When they get there, Gary examines him with an updated reader and finds out Tom is right, the chip is still inside Anthony. So he just needs to program the machine to find this new chip frequency and lock on the memory Tom is in to take him out. However, Anthony speaks up and tells them that since he's collaborating, he wants something in return. He's sure something else happened the night of the murder and he wants Tom to find out what before he leaves his mind. Tom freaks out when he hears this, feeling like he's being used, but he has no choice but to accept if he wants to go back to his own brain. While Richard calls Abby, who is waiting at home with Tom's body, to tell her there's been a delay, Tom guides Anthony through his old memories. Anthony and Adrienne had met 2 years ago. She came from an abusive household and got addicted to the harder stuff when she met Anthony. When she became everything to him, he tried to get her clean, but no matter what he did, there was no saving her. Then one day out of nowhere, she just broke up with him and never picked up his calls again, which sent Anthony in a downward spiral. The night of the murder, he remembers waking up in the tub after hearing the crash of glass shattering, so he went out to investigate and a mysterious shadow knocked him out. Tom makes Minnie send him to that memory, but Anthony doesn't remember the details, so the room is filled with placeholders.
Yeah, like, you can't exactly see what he didn't see. So.
But but wait, we'll see.
On them and the attacker has Gary's face. Tom thinks they can do nothing with such a lack of details, but when he double checks the bathroom, he notices the magazine in the tub does have a small picture on it. He decides to use memory triggers to help Anthony recover the full memory. Tom begins walking through the house, telling Anthony keywords of their surroundings and letting him fill the gaps as his mind begins making the associations. Soon all magazines and frames regain their pictures, and the products of the house get back their color. Now that Anthony has a much clearer vision of the memory, Tom resets it, and both of them finally get a good look at the attacker's face. It's Eric. Meanwhile, in reality, the guard goes out to take a leak, and Gary lights up a cigarette while waiting for Tom to be done with the memory search. Anthony asks him for a cigarette then pretends to drop it, so when Gary comes to pick it up, he knocks him out and takes the handcuffs keys from his pocket. Now freed, he also knocks out the guard when he comes back and takes his gun, which he uses to make Richard hand him the keys to his car. Anthony drives all the way to Eric's apartment and shoots him on the foot as he demands answers. Eric tells him he didn't kill Adrienne, she was already dead when he got there. When he heard footsteps, he hid behind the door, and when he saw Anthony enter the room with a gun, he panicked and hit him. Then he ran away, and the cops never came after him, so he didn't say anything. He was in the house that night because he was having an affair with Adrienne. It was her way to pay him for the drugs. That's the reason why she broke up with Tom. She felt too guilty. She even tried to quit, but she couldn't because Eric threatened with killing her if she did. Eric thinks that Anthony killed her because Adrienne must have finally given up and told him everything, which would explain Anthony's memory of her apologizing. At that moment, they're interrupted by Eric's roommate, who also has gun, so Anthony has no choice but to give his...
It's like a whole Mexican style.
This is so crazy. I'm trying to put it in my head, like, so she wanted to quit, but she couldn't because this guy wouldn't let her. Her dealer wouldn't let her.
Yeah.
And to pay for the drugs, she was having sex with her dealer.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why she had to break up with her boyfriend, because she felt
guilty.
too guilty. But the reason why he remembered her saying sorry is just because he remembered her apologizing. That's still quite phasey. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the original memory,
who killed him.
the original memory he had was fake, was not real. So it's kind of like, so I guess I don't know. It's can the device be used then to solve crime? Can the device be used to solve crime?
Because I'm saying, like, that's also part of it that that we didn't think of, is that if the person believed that they did it, even though they didn't, it's still gonna show in the memory.
Yeah.
Because the memory is gonna try and rewrite in a way to make it seem like they did it.
Yeah.
And it could implicate them.
Yeah.
So
unless it's like we are.
It's the management. So if someone like doused them with enough like drugs that alters the mind.
Yeah, they
and
could
kind of
imagine
makes
they
them
did it.
think
Yeah,
that they did it,
yeah.
and then just kind of test them up as the fall guy.
Yeah.
Then they can,
Well, I guess the way to do it would be to just be like, what did you do on this date? And then they just fully remember what they did on that day.
They're interrupted by Eric's roommate, who also has gun, so Anthony has no choice but to give his to Eric, who doesn't hesitate to shoot him on the stomach. As night suddenly falls around Tom at the pool memory, Anthony takes advantage of Eric monologuing and kicks him off him, managing to grab back his gun and shooting the roommate before going after Eric, who is now running away. Because Anthony is on the verge of death, Minnie is malfunctioning. Eric manages to hide behind a building, but Anthony is starting to bleed heavily, and when feels the weight of the Bible in his pocket, he knows what he must do. He begins driving to Tom's house while talking to Abby on the phone, passing on the instructions Tom tells him to reconfigure the old prototype machine he still has at home. As soon as he gets there, Abby connects him and Tom's body to the machine, but Anthony's mind is unstable because of his current condition. Tom is accidentally taken out of the pool memory and into the robbery one, so thinking he won't make it out, he asks Minnie to take him to one last memory. Anthony can't find him at the usual spot, but when he sees Donna, he remembers Tom said there's one memory he could live forever in. Anthony begins remembering the day they met Donna in prison, and as soon as Tom appears there, he gives Abby the okay to begin the extraction. Anthony dies as his mind returns to the pool memory, seeing Adrienne one last time, and Tom wakes up in bed with his family sometime later, finally properly alive again. Tom begins spending a lot of time with his daughter, but he also visits Martino so they can talk about their memories of Anthony together. When he shows him a picture of their pet, he mentions it was a show dog, which Tom can't believe because he saw how badly he behaved around the house. Martino explains it isn't true, that's what he told Anthony as an excuse when he got rid of the dog, but actually, the dog was a saint and he sold it because he got a very good offer. This doesn't make sense because the memories Tom saw were real, but now he starts to realize the power suggestion can have. Martino himself said that if you tell someone something enough times, they'll believe it. The final proof comes when Tom sees Martino's handwriting on one of the pictures and realizes he had been the anonymous tip. When questioned, Martino admits it's true and tells him what happened that night. Anthony went to see Adrienne, but she was so overwhelmed by guilt that she killed herself. Having lost the love of his life, Anthony went to the bathroom to take those pills to odd himself on purpose, but he also called his dad, who picked him up and didn't believe the story coming from the lips of an addict. The next morning, Anthony didn't remember anything, so Martino took the chance to set him up, that way he would end up in jail, where he could clean up his act. Some days later, Tom is at a bar, seeing Arthur on TV announcing he'll be testing a new machine soon. This upsets Tom greatly. Way he would end the next
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. What?
Technically, the machine isn't an end or be all.
Yeah,
But
the power of persuasion, because the dad started it by saying the dog didn't listen. That is crazy. Which messed up his whole memory, because now he thought the dog was like never listened.
yeah,
His whole memory of the child, the dog
but
was.
I don't think it's the memory that's the problem, because I think it was the facts that, like, after the girlfriend killed herself and he kind of
Tried to OD.
then the memory kind of like started forgetting that memory, so
Yeah.
they became unreliable.
Yeah. Plus, it didn't help that he couldn't remember. Yeah, he didn't remember the night. He didn't remember.
Yeah, because of the
straight away.
drugs.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he
exactly.
couldn't remember the night properly.
That's crazy.
morning, Anthony didn't remember anything, so Martino took the chance to set him up, that way he would end up in jail, where he could clean up his act. Some days later, Tom is at a bar, seeing Arthur on TV announcing he'll be testing a new machine soon. This upsets Tom greatly, but he's at that bar for a reason. The bartender is Minnie, who lends him an ear, and Tom can find comfort on her familiar voice. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this.
That's
thank you.
crazy. That is actually
was-
a pretty good sum up of a good movie, to be fair.
That sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to watch the
I
whole
wouldn't
thing.
watch the whole thing,
but
but the sum up.
The premise and the story is really
yeah,
good.
it's really good. Really, oh, that's crazy. Moral of the story: make sure you remember everything that happens the night before.
And don't let people in your heads.
Exactly.
So you people who love to do VR, be careful.
I don't think that's quite the same.
Isn't it?
No,
I mean, VR chip in your head, I feel like it's kind of on the same basis.
I wouldn't.
Am I off base on this
Yeah,
assumption?
just a little bit.
Huh.
It's just a little bit. But like we said, this has been Unorthodox Reactions. We
Old.
have reacted. If you're still watching with us, we
Thoroughly
appreciate
reacted.
you. If you're no longer watching, we still appreciate you. Thank you
Of
for
course.
checking in with us.
Always.
We hope you have a good one.
Like, comment, subscribe, notification bell, all the good stuff. Comment reaction suggestions below. And yes, don't worry, we do read the reaction suggestions and we do get to them. It's just taking a while.
Yeah. Plus, we love your comments, honestly.
Yep,
And those
honestly.
of you that don't think I can defeat it, how you know? You got it mistaken.
We
got
should have
me
mentioned this
mistaken.
in the other video that actually related to
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
But-
They're not gonna, yeah.
Death Wish. But anyway, we'll see you all in the next one.
Look after
In a
yourselves.
bit.
Peace.